win for our team. In the first half, I thought we played as good offensively as we've really played all year, really shared the basketball. And then in the second half, I thought we really just gutted out what was a tough victory. A lot of credit to Jackson and Wallace. We've played them for 6 times in the last 2 years. They're tremendous players. And I thought, especially Wallace, really kept them in the game when we extended their lead. And we had great poise down the stretch, and it was a great win for us.
Questions for our student athletes?
What was it like down the stretch playing in a pretty close, tough, back and forth matchup there?
Basically, I would just say you just got to stay poised and stay locked in. They made a run closer to the end, took the lead, and guys on our bench were still giving each other motivation to letting us know that it's still a long game. It's 6 minutes left, and you don't just win it in 6 minutes with one run. And we stayed locked in closer to the end and locked in even more as we got down the stretch.
Yeah, as we knew this game was going to be tough, and it was going to be down the stretch. So we just maintained trust among ourselves, good talk, stick to the game plan, and that's what happened. But credit to them, they're a great team.
All right, we'll let our student athletes get back to the locker room, and we will continue with questions for Coach.
Coach, this is the third time you faced UTSA in the last 40-something days. So,
Yeah.
The game plan obviously was to use your size.
Yeah, I think we joked earlier today that we've shown film on them to our team 45 times in the last month. So this was the 46th time that we've watched film. We didn't play as much zone because they kind of, I thought, figured out our zone a little bit. We did in the first and second game. But our size and physicality, I thought, was the whole key. They got some offensive rebounds late, but I thought we controlled the glass, especially in the beginning of the game. But try to use Taven, Will, and our size Maktar, Tamel, Kasim to really get points in the paint. The ironic thing today is that we shot the ball from 3 much better than we've shot it all year. I think that's just because our guys were really excited to play here and for the tournament. Yeah.
What's the difference defending UTSA as it will be tomorrow against Western?
Well, there's a lot of similarities in the fact that they both change defenses. That's all for us offensively, but good guard play. Obviously, Hollingsworth, Savage, Rawls. They're very somewhat similar styles. I think UTSA is maybe a little bit bigger, but they're both good in transition. It's going to be defending the perimeter, defending the quick guards, and trying to use our size, our strength, our power tomorrow is going to be a huge key.
Coach, what does it say about the mental fabric of your team to, you give up the lead kind of late in the game and then you come back and kind of reestablish and hold them off at the end?
I think it speaks volumes to our leadership. Will Butler, Maktar, Antonio, we've had great leadership the last month of the season. And I've been saying this to everyone who wants to listen. We've been playing great basketball. We've lost 2 games in the last 5 weeks, both games, one to UTSA. We were up 9 with 5 minutes to go. So we've been playing really good. I think we've carried that confidence over here to the first game. And down the stretch, there was just no panic, I think, because we've been in these situations before. And lately, we've won a lot of these games.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Coach out of here. Yep. There you go. All right, we have UTSA head coach Steve Henson, student athlete Keaton Wallace, and we will begin with an opening statement from Coach.
Well, it was another third time with those guys. Every one of them's been similar in terms of physicality, and they've got a great system. They're committed to pounding the ball inside and driving it down in the paint and crashing the glass hard. A very, very physical team, and they did that to a large degree in the first half. Shot a great percentage. We lost a lot of those battles in the first half, and they threw in some threes, which really made it tough on us. Second half, we had some good stretches defensively. Offensively, obviously, first half, our numbers were okay, but that was only because of Keaton. We weren't running great offense. Keaton just went crazy and kind of carried us there. We moved him, slid him over off the ball just for a few minutes there to try to get him going, and apparently that worked. But he was the only thing we had going in the first half. Second half, we had one stretch where we really moved the ball. Probably the best stretch of possessions we've had in weeks, where different people were touching the ball and making plays. That was a very encouraging sign there. We fought, we competed in the second half, and just wasn't enough.
All right, questions for our student athlete?
What was it like down the stretch there where you guys came back and took the lead, and then UAB came back and ultimately held you guys off for the win? What was it like?
We knew that it was going to be a tough all game, the whole game. Just playing those guys the time before, it was always a close game. So we knew we was right there. They knew that they were right there. So it was just a matter of coming down with some plays at the end.
You had one of your best games of the season and the biggest game of the season. What got into you tonight?
I feel like my preparation throughout the whole season, my first year, I think I burnt out maybe in January. And then last year, I burnt out maybe in the pod play. So this year, I'm mainly focused on being able to be ready for the conference tournament, and I was a little bit today.
All right, and we'll finish up with questions for Coach.
Coach, it's the third time you played UAB in like 40 days or something. Was there anything they did new today?
No, there weren't a lot of surprises. I mean, they were always very, very well prepared. They stick to offensive. They stick to their sets and their commitment. They're gonna get Loven driving at right hand. They're gonna get Scott Grayson driving at left hand. They're gonna pound that ball in there. It's good commitment level on their part. They typically don't turn the ball over a lot. They had some turnovers in the second half tonight, but they mix up their defenses. They always throw a little bit of zone at us. We had to spend a lot of time preparing for that. We played them in the tournament last year here, and they played a lot of zone, and we didn't shoot it very well, and it just ended up being Keaton and Javon taking a lot of long, hard shots. So knowing that they like to play some zone, they have shown some zone against us the previous two ball games. We spent some time prepared for that. I thought we were pretty good against that, but not a lot of surprises. It's just you just got to fight and win battles, and they're so tough and physical. And the game that we won more of the battles. The two games that we lost, they won more of the battles.
Javon had a tough night shooting tonight. Is it just tough looks, or is that just the way it goes sometimes?
Yeah, he got a little frustrated, early, and thought he had a lot of good look. Those little floaters, he's usually automatic on those. Couldn't get to the line much. Sometimes when he's struggling, he can get to the line. Their length bothered us a little bit when we did get some penetration. Right there early in the second half, I thought he got some great looks. Obviously, he was pressing a little bit, but I thought they were really, really good looks and couldn't get it going. We had him play a little more point, but I think it was just one of those nights. And I didn't think he took too many bad shots. I mean, obviously when Keaton's hot like that, we want to get the ball back to Keaton, but we needed somebody else to get going as well. And so I thought a lot of the shots that he missed were pretty good shots.
When it came to, you started Jacob Germany, but in the final couple minutes there, he wasn't in the game. Is that due to inexperience, or did you want more experienced players in, or what was your thought there?
Yeah, it's real. At that point, we felt really good about several guys. That's a tough deal. I mean, it's a good feeling to have. It doesn't always happen, but Jacob was very good through a great majority of the game. We liked what he was giving us there. We felt like Luka made a nice little stretch there. We wanted to pound the ball inside a couple times. He made some nice passes out of there. So, and Adrian Rodriguez just gives us he's one of our better rebounders. So it's just kind of going back and forth with all those guys on the interior. Jacob was terrific, you know, and you know, we weren't hesitant to play him at that point. It wasn't anything negative that he had done. We felt great about his minutes, but we liked Luka in there. And then just for a couple of defensive possessions, we snuck Adrian in there. And we like Adrian and Byron together in certain situations. They're so secure with the ball. They're two very tough defenders and good rebounders. So thought all those guys contributed.
Coach, I know your season just ended. Can you kind of summarize and characterize what this season has been for you guys? Is it disappointing considering the preseason expectations?
It is. We just came up short too many times, and I didn't feel like we were real far away in a lot of those ball games. They were tough. They were disappointing, devastating in some cases. Some of those were devastating losses. I never felt like this group was far away from being able to turn the corner, and we just never quite did it. We'd win one, lose one, you know, put ourselves in position, and then lose a tough one, a heartbreaker, and we'd bounce back. You know, I've been saying this for weeks and weeks, and you know it, but I told our guys just now, it's a very resilient group. Proud of the way they've handled that. Expectations were high. They had them. We had them. Fans had them. That's good. That's good. You know, 3 or 4 years ago, there weren't many expectations with this program, and I hope there's some expectations on this group next year. I really do. It makes it harder in some ways, but you just got to make a couple more plays, win a few more ball games. And this group, you know, we continued to search defensively all year. Last few weeks, we've struggled on the offensive end, but we never quite got where we needed to be defensively to make the run that we needed to.
Have you given any thought that this may have been the last time Keaton and Javon play for UTSA? I
hadn't given that any thought. You know, everything was leading up to this ball game, and these guys are going to be great players. I hadn't even processed that.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks again.
well coached, so we knew that it was going to be difficult. I was excited. I thought the first half we did a great job. We made some mistakes at the end, and then Williams got off a little bit. We went down to double him, and they hit 2 threes. Give them credit. You know, they hit 2 threes on us, and we were trying to get on their backside. But other than that, you know, all the accolades go to these young men you see next to me, and the rest of them, they're in the locker room. It was a good game. And, you know, tournament time is all about just go to the next one. See if you can get to the next one. So we're going to still play tomorrow. We got to get ready tonight and make sure we're playing a really good Louisiana Tech team.
All right, questions for our student athletes.
You guys are going to be playing in an empty gym tomorrow because of these new coronavirus fears. Any thoughts about that?
We just gotta bring our own energy. We bring energy in practice, throughout practice. So like we have our own fan base. So I mean, our sideline, they know what they have to do. Us on the court, we know we have to cheer each other on while we're out there. And you gotta imagine the crowd is there. Keep the energy in your head. Keep the energy positive on the sideline, and we'll be fine.
Is a band coming? Do y'all know?
I think that the release said credentialed media and essential personnel. I don't know
Very
if you
essential.
consider that
Okay.
essential.
I was told by Clifton it's up to the institution.
Discretion of institution.
Okay, then the band will be here, right? All right.
Since Grant's not here, Tavian, you had your 6th 20-point game since we started conference play. I know you had double figures almost all non-conference, but what do you think's been the difference for you since conference play started?
Everybody believed in me. My teammates, Coach Dan, he believed in me. He told me shoot the ball. He tells everybody shoot the ball. I stay.
Everybody got shot.
Yeah, I stay after practice every day to put in some extra time, put in some extra work, and it started to pay off when it got to conference time. So that's really it.
And Jared, Tavian had 21 of his 26 in the first half. At 5 in the second half. You guys picked him up. Did he give you guys energy in that first half when you guys weren't getting shots down from 3?
Yeah, Tay did a great job in the first half, just getting to his spots, taking what the defense was giving him. And he was making some tough shots, and that's really what we needed in the first half. He was getting out in transition. He was pushing the break. I know he had a lot of rebounds and assists, too, so it wasn't just the scoring, He had a complete game, too, played good defense. But I thought he did a really great job, especially in the first half of, pretty much carrying us in the first half, so he did a good job.
All right, we'll let our players go back to the locker room, and we'll continue with questions for Coach.
Good job, fellas.
Thanks, Coach. You too.
Yeah,
How do you think this win prepares you going forward?
done. And basketball, they always every reporter will ask you that, and each game has its own identity. And you know what? You match up different with different players, and they always say, well, you got momentum. And, momentum stopped when the buzzer went off. You got to get ready again for another team. And the team we're playing is really good. And we'll have to be prepared for that. And there's not a whole lot of lessons we learned here, So I've always asked that question. I know I'm not trying to disrespect you anyway, but to me, each game is itself an entity, and to think that that's going to change the next game or do something with the next game, I've never been doing it 50 years. I can give you what everybody else tells you, but I think what everybody else says is bull crap if they say it goes. So that's my personal opinion.
Coach, it seemed like when you really needed a big basket, you were able to give one. Were you pretty happy with how you came through in those big moments?
We did, and that's a good question. And there was especially one, I think Williams kid hit a 3, and we came down and back to 3 right on top of it. And that's the way you win games, especially in tournaments. We told them at halftime that this is you go home, so they're not quitting. So you're going to have to match if they get a little run, which they probably will, because they're going to fight it. You have to match it, and we seemed to be able to do that. I thought our pick and roll really worked, and we got a lot of lob dunks and a lot of easy buckets off that pick and roll. I hope we can, we'll watch film tomorrow and But again, next team will guard it different. So you have to adjust to how they'll guard you. So, but we did do a really good job of matching. I thought Michael Byers hit 4 free throws right there at the end, and they were pure. He had one. The first one was a little lippy, but after that it was straight down. So George gave us a big boost. We didn't get much out of our 2-5 players. Seemed like the game was a little bit too quick for them, and I'm not so sure that was the problem, or they're just not making definite decisions. They're both big guys, and a lot of times, if they touch somebody, it's a foul, and then they start tiptoeing, and then they don't make the real strong moves, and so we went without them in this game. Next game they could be big. You never know. It's nice to have you, Grant. Are you going to ask a question?
Deadline's a beast, man.
Are you going to ask a question? Or are you just coming in here?
I just thought I'd make your life miserable for another day.
You do that every daggone day of the year. I got to put up with you every practice.
Except yesterday. Gave you a day off.
That's right.
Oh, I'm the guy.
You want it? If not, I'm out of here.
Hold for you. It seemed like Mike and some of the other guys settled in the second half. Early it was Kinsey, and second half really, it looked like the entire team started getting it together and moving the ball well.
Well, I thought Andy played extremely well too. He was breaking them down defensively, and we have some outstanding offensive players. They're Michael Byers and Jansen and Jared are juniors. Tavion's a sophomore. Andy's a freshman. But they're very good. George is a junior. So we don't have any seniors, but you know what? We have good offensive players. So does it like, am I surprised? No. I expect them to do that. And I thought we did a pretty good job. But I didn't want to leave Andy out because I thought I don't know what he had, but
15, 5 and 5.
15. He played extremely well, and he had how many rebounds? Because 5. He had 5 rebounds too. So it's pretty good for a guard, freshman, first year out. So
Is it getting to the point with Andy where you can sort of look at the matchups and dictate whether you want Jared on the ball offensively or Andy and sort of play that in your favor?
the last 3 games I've started putting him in plays that I go over there and scribble on that board that you see. And I hadn't done that prior to these last 3 games. And I started getting the confidence. I thought first of all, they get confidence in themselves, and then I get confidence in them. And he started getting a little bit more feel good on the floor. I could see him relaxing and becoming the player that we recruited. And that's when I started putting him in plays. And if you do it too soon and it doesn't work, he's not ready to handle it, then they lose their confidence. I think you have to be careful at the timing that you ask people to take over games. And that's been the biggest difference between last year and this year. We had John and CJ. We knew we were going. They were experienced at finishing games. And now we're trying to break into the who does it for this year. And we've been up and down a little bit because it took us a while to figure it out.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all.
You ain't done yet.
second here. Okay, we have UTEP head coach Rodney Terry and student athlete Soleil Boom, and we will begin with a opening statement from coach.
Well, I'd like to give, first of all, I'd like to give Marshall a lot of credit. Those guys that came out, they worked the game for 40 minutes. We have a lot of respect for their program and obviously the way that they play. We felt like we were in great shape for a better part of the game. We lost some separation there toward the latter part of the first half. I thought that was a big difference in the game in terms of giving those guys some transition baskets that they didn't have to come down and earn a basket. But I'll give my guys a lot of credit. They fought, they battled. They could have easily laid down and they didn't. And they put themselves in a position late in the ball game to have a chance to win the ball game.
All right, questions for coach or our student athlete?
Sule, did you guys just have troubles getting big stops at the biggest times in the game?
Their game plan, they was setting a lot of slips and setting a lot of screens, and we had a game plan of how we was going to guard it. And it's hard guarding the actions out there, communicating and stuff, but we just had to be connected more, and we were just trying our best to do our best to defend it.
You guys did make that comeback late in the game. What really engineered that?
Well, again, we were able to put some stops together. We put some, and that was the thing we kept talking about. If we could put some consecutive stops together here, we'll get what we want on offense. And we were getting some really good shots for a better part of the ball game. Even when they went on the run, we still had some shots around the basket that we could have stopped their run with just converting a basket or two. But it was predicated off defense, and then we were ready to get out and play to our strength offensively.
Did you have trouble, though, stopping them in the paint? They had 46 points in the paint.
Well, again, Kenzie's was the biggest part in the paint. I mean, it's a little misleading in terms of their post guys because they don't really have much of a post presence outside of the big fella inside. Kenzie got a lot of work done within the paint, and, they got some things downhill. West got 2 layups downhill. I think Taylor got downhill a little bit and stuff. So when you say points in the paint, it's not necessarily post guys as it was probably more the perimeter guys than the post guys. But we did. They scored, obviously 46 points in the paint, and we scored 26.
Coach, obviously this wasn't the way we thought the season was going to end based on the 8-1 start. What are we saying to the team after this, and where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, again, I'm not disappointed with what we did this year. I look at all the positives in terms of what we did. We doubled everything we did a year ago, man. We're still trying to build a program. We played an established program today. Okay, a program that knows how to win this tournament. Okay, they know how to win in the NCAA tournament. Okay, so we're building a program. Okay, we're trying to learn what it takes to win it. Okay, not only in conference play but in postseason play. Okay, so there's no disappointment here. Okay, in terms of what we did and how we did it. We could have easily folded down the stretch and we didn't. Okay, so there's no disappointment. We just know we're building and we still got a little ways to go in terms of what we're doing. So I'm excited about what our guys were able to do this year, and they kept playing and kept battling all year long.
Thank you, guys.